Hello and welcome to our show. My name is Francine Scaboria and I work at Safe Berks. Safe Berks is the nonprofit that serves survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault in Berks County. Our services are free, they're confidential, they're available 24 hours a day, and they're available in English, Spanish, or any other language needed. I want to welcome my guest today, Teena Lee. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
And Teena is the chair of the SANE team at Reading Hospital Tower Health. SANE is S-A-N-E. And Teena, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your work, and what is the SANE team at Reading Hospital?
Yes, thank you for having me today.
Yes, thank you for joining us. You do incredible work.
Thank you so much. So SANE, to start with, is the Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner. So it is specialized training to become a SANE nurse. Most of the SANE nurses do work in the hospital, so I am based out of the emergency department. So we are an emergency department predominantly based team. I've been at the hospital about 6.5 years, all within the emergency room. So I came right out of nursing school and started down in the ED.
Wow.
Currently on our team, we have about 22 members. So it's made up of nurses, PCAs, medics. We all have a physician liaison. We have some management in there. So we built up our team from about just six nurses a couple years ago to 22 members.
Wow, that is great.
Yeah, we've done a lot of legwork to get there. I'm very
How
proud
many
of our
years
team.
have you been with Reading Hospital?
I've been at Reading Hospital about 6.5 years, and on the SANE team for about 5 of those 6 years.
Tell me about some of the services that the SANE team offers someone who has been is dealing with a sexual assault or a rape.
So generally when a victim comes in after a sexual assault, the SANE nurse will come in. They have to be medically cleared first. We want to make sure that they don't have any life-threatening injuries. We want to make sure that they're okay and stable medically.
Right.
After that, the SANE nurse comes in and we do give them some options for reporting. They can choose to not report at all. And every individual is different and they have their reasons why they wouldn't want to report. But we would treat them medically. We could give them sexual transmitted disease prevention and protection, treat any STDs that they may have had. We give them the option for Plan B or pregnancy prevention. And then we, counsel them on follow-up stuff. Another option that we give is a full report with an evidence kit collection. So we would call the police, we would file a police report. The reason that the SANE nurses are specialized is because our role is to collect and preserve evidence.
Okay.
So the SANE nurse doesn't necessarily, they can't tell somebody if they were raped or not. Some people, they don't know if something happened, if there was alcohol or drugs involved. So sometimes they don't understand that we can't necessarily tell. But our role is to do that evidence preservation. So we would preserve the evidence, we would do a full head-to-toe exam, we would document injuries, we would do photographs, we collect swabs. The majority of the kit itself are just swabs, like Q-tips that you would clean your ears out with.
Okay.
So it's a pretty easy exam. We do look at everything. So for ladies, we would do an internal exam just to check for any evidence or areas of injury. And for the guys, we would look head to toe as well. We again offer the STD prevention, the pregnancy prevention. We offer HIV medications, follow-up services. With every patient that comes in with a sexual assault, domestic violence complaint, we do call Safe Berks, get an advocate in front of them.
Yes, that's what I wanted to check too, because I know we have a good partnership. So you contact Safe Berks and then we send an advocate over.
We do, and we love that because when the sexual assault nurse has to come in, as a nurse, we want to be able to advocate for our patients, but when we're in that SANE role, we have to be able to be a very neutral party because we're collecting evidence. So unfortunately, we can't always be that compassionate person because there's a very specific job that we're doing while we're in there. And then we also offer patients when they come in what's called a Jane Doe kit. So a Jane Doe kit is a kit that we would collect just like we would as any other collection of evidence. However, we don't call and report to police. This is a way for a victim to be able to process what they're going through, think about who they want to talk to first, and then think about who they want to report to. We give the kit to the district attorney's office, and they store it for up to a year. And then that victim has that time frame to come forward and report at a later date, but we have preserved the evidence that's there.
Right. And this brings me to something I wanted to ask you when you're talking about the emotions that the person might go through. Because I know when the Safe Berks advocate goes out, we have a commitment to be there within 1 hour if the hospital calls. And in the future, we're going to have an even bigger presence.
Yes.
We're working on that, and we'll do an updated show. But when you meet people that are victims, I mean, I know that these people have experienced profound trauma.
Absolutely.
And how does that affect people? I believe it's different for each person.
Absolutely.
What has been your experience of people that have dealt with trauma?
I work in the emergency department, so I see people of all walks of life.
Right.
The people that I find that have the longest trauma and most problems are the people that don't seek help. So the people that have held it in, they just want it to go away. They don't talk to somebody about it. They just kind of put it in the back of their mind and keep moving on. They do have long-lasting effects of that trauma. And a lot of research actually shows that the earlier survivors and victims and people that are even just witness a sexual assault, the sooner that they start getting help and go to counseling and start processing some of the feelings that they're having, they generally get better sooner. They don't have those long-lasting effects after a traumatic event.
Wow, that is fascinating. And just to remind anyone who is tuned in here to contact Safe Berks, our services are free. We have free counseling. It's trauma informed. In addition to working with the hospitals, you can work with Safe Berks. And I know that in addition to all your work, and your work with the hospital and Safe Berks, you also come in and volunteer to help at Safe Berks.
We sure do.
Tell me what you and the other SANE nurses do to help at Safe Berks.
So we've cooked a few dinners there. We have cooked, last year I believe we did Christmas, and then the past year we did Thanksgiving. So the first year that we did it, we brought a Santa with us and a few elves. So we brought presents for the residents and the kids, just to make it a little bit, it's difficult to be at a shelter during the holidays.
Right.
So we brought some goodies for the kids and made a whole feast. And then for this past year, we just did Thanksgiving. So we had some chefs that they can cook, and they brought desserts and main courses and all the fixings in between.
I have to say, I was in the building the day you guys cooked. The entire building smelled like happiness.
Yeah.
It was like Thanksgiving at your mom's, it was great. So thank you. And, and why do the nurses who work in this field, I mean, why do you do it and how do you do it? Because I know you have a very busy lives and busy jobs.
We do. I feel like when I took over the team that we needed a lot of team building.
Okay.
Outside of the workplace, and not just going out to the bar and drinking. I like to give back as a person, and I thought one good way that we could give back, you guys are always coming in when we call you and there's a crisis in the department, so we thought, why can't we give back, to the community, to Safe Berks, who's always there for us, and what we can do is, cook a meal. Some of us brought our children so they could start, understanding giving back and volunteering and serving others. So it was, definitely we had our division director come, we had some of the big people that, really wanted to give back, their kids, their families, their friends, so.
That is so awesome, and we appreciate it so much. I want you to know everyone at Safe Berks really treasures this relationship that we have with you, with your team, with Reading Hospital, so thank you.
Yes, you guys are amazing.
And I wanted to ask you, I know we're running out of time, but I want to ask you one more question, and that is, what would be your advice for somebody who has been affected by a sexual assault? Whether it happened yesterday or whether it happened 5 years ago, what's your advice?
First and foremost, I would say tell somebody.
Yeah.
That's something that you do need to not go through alone. Survivors are survivors for a reason. And unfortunately, a lot of people blame themselves when it is not their fault. That's something huge that we see a lot, is we see a lot of self-blame for victims.
Right.
And again, the earlier that somebody could come in and talk, there's individual counseling, there's group counseling, sometimes just talking to somebody and getting those raw emotions out can start helping with the grieving and healing process. And if it's something, relatively recent, I would think about coming in for a sexual assault exam. Unfortunately, sexual assault is one of the under-prosecuted crimes that are out there, and people are not held accountable for the things that they are doing to others. So I would say, for people to, come forward, share their story, speak to the police, come in, get an evaluation, bare minimum, if you're not ready to talk to the police, get yourself checked,
Right.
just to make sure that you are still healthy. So,
Thank you for that advice. Thank you so much. And we want to thank everyone at Reading Hospital, at all the medical centers and hospitals in Berks County. Safe Berks works closely with them. We are initiating some additional programming, working with the hospitals. We'll update you on that soon. But if you would like more information about Safe Berks, including our free counseling, check us out at www.safeberks.org. Thank you.